Reolink contacted me at the beginning of the month and asked me if I would be interested in testing a new camera that had not been released yet. It's the RLC 1220A, a 12 megapixel camera with 4K video. Now, I started testing this product about 10 days ago and it is absolutely brilliant. I'm very impressed with the video. So after this little preamble, I'll show you quite a few clips of the camera in real life situations. There are some comparisons with my other Reolink 5 megapixel camera, and there is a major difference between the two. So this camera is going on sale very shortly. In fact, they informed me that 250 or so have shipped out to retailers as I actually make this video. So within the next few days you should hopefully be able to get hold of it. But one thing worth mentioning is that this camera will only work on the more modern NVRs at 12 megapixels. And there is an article that Reolink have produced. I'll put a link to that in the bottom of this video so that you can see if you've got a Reolink NVR whether you will get full 12 megapixel footage. But anyway, I'll jump into it now. I apologise for the pretty poor voiceover, but I didn't want to put minutes of video on there without any sound. So here are some clips that I've recorded on the camera. It's mounted on a tree looking down towards the house. You can see the cars and myself walking around. And I've made some reg plates to stick over my reg plates on the car so that you can get a look at the quality of the video when you're looking at something like a reg plate. And also, as you see me walking around, you'll be able to see just how clear the video is when someone is walking around your property. Now, it is definitely a lovely clear image, way better than the other cameras that I've got. As you can see, I'm coming fairly close now, and there's no doubt you'll be able to recognize somebody. Now, this next clip is nighttime. It's actually almost pitch black outside, but there is a little bit of ambient light left. It's just after sunset, and you can see the deer at the bottom of the garden. Now, the IR lights are on the camera, but you can see a fair bit in the background, and very shortly now you can see that we've gone a few minutes later. It's quite a lot darker, and it is really dark outside now, so we're relying entirely on the IR lights. Now, this is a herd of deer that we've got in the garden. They're regular visitors, and obviously they're not disturbed by the camera being there at all. Any moment now they're going to get closer to the camera, and I just thought that I would add this video because you can see what lovely night vision video you get from this camera. So I'm really pleased that I managed to get this image. I hope you like it as well. And then moving on now, this is the same camera, the same position, and it's just looking down at the garden during the daylight. You can see the deer on the right hand side at the bottom, and any moment now the wife is going to open the gate and let the dog out without realising the deer are there, and then the dog is going to run down there and chase the deer away, which is something we never intended to happen, but I thought it was really funny and thought that you guys might actually like to see it. Now, this next clip is a comparison between the 12 megapixel camera and an RLC 511, which is a 5 megapixel Reolink camera on the NVR. And again, I've mounted some fake reg plates on the front of the car, and we're going to look at the car driving up towards the camera. Now, the RLC 511 is a zoom camera. You can zoom it in and out, and I've tried to match the two images, but there is absolutely no doubt looking at this that the image on the right hand side is way better than the image on the left, and the right hand side being the 12 megapixel camera. Now, you can see the lights flickering on the left hand side. That's obviously a frequency issue. There is a major difference between the car on the right and the car on the left, and as it gets even closer, the 12 megapixel camera is just so much better than the 5 megapixel one. So that's quite a nice little comparison there of the two cameras, and I'm going to move over to night vision now. Obviously I'm driving away from the camera because if I was driving towards, then the lights would actually shine into the camera. You wouldn't be able to see the reg plates on the back there. But again, it is obvious which camera is the better of the two. The next clip is of me walking towards the camera. Now, you'll notice there is a time difference between the 12 megapixel camera on the right and the 5 on the left, and that is because each camera is using its own IR lights as I approach it. So on the left you can see that I think personally the IR lights on the 5 megapixel camera are slightly better than the ones on the 12 megapixel camera, but at the same time the 12 megapixel image is much better. It's a much better image. So again, this is the same thing but during the day, and I'm also carrying a board with Reolink written on it so that you can compare actually something resembling a reg plate as I'm moving towards the camera, which will just give you an idea of how good the quality is on both cameras. Now again, there is absolutely no doubt as to which is the best camera, and it's almost possible to see the blades of grass on the right hand side with a 12 megapixel camera. Now don't get me wrong, the 511, the one on the left, is a good camera as far as I'm concerned, but this 12 megapixel camera is definitely a few steps above that, and as I approach closer you can see a definite difference in the two images. The halo that you can see on the edges of this clip are caused by infrared light from this camera reflecting off an object that is close to it. Now the object that's close to it is the camera that's mounted next to it, which sticks out further. But if you have CCTV cameras and you see this effect on one of your cameras, it means that the infrared lights are reflecting off something that is mounted close to it, causing this halo effect on the lens. Now I thought this was quite interesting to watch. I don't know what that fox was eating there, but it was obviously interested in something. Here we've got two deer helping themselves to the honeysuckle plant that grows along the side of the drive there. Now these are regular visitors and they keep all our plants around the edge, especially the honeysuckle and the roses, pruned for us, especially in the autumn and the winter when food is a little bit scarce. And they also keep the grass down as well, so that's a major advantage of having wildlife around your garden. And I just thought this was a nice little clip to add to the video. Again, really good quality. It is possible to record time-lapse video on this 12 megapixel camera. You need to fit a micro SD card into the camera, there is a slot for it, and then you need to use the app, and you must make sure that the camera is connected directly to the network, not via the MVR, and it's possible to record time-lapse video. Now it's quite interesting to see a little bit of time-lapse video. They will be adding this to the PC client software sometime in the future as well. A quick look at the packaging. Inside the box, along with the camera, we've got an Ethernet cable, a waterproof connector for the Ethernet cable, various bits of paperwork, operating instructions, mounting template, and a 24-hour surveillance sticker. I hope I've done a reasonable job of testing this camera. Now when it comes out on release, and I've got some links, I'll post them at the bottom of the video too. But I don't know about you, I think that it's a very impressive camera, and I think it's going to be very popular, and Reolink will do very well with it. I hope you found this little test and sort of mini review useful. Thank you for watching and take care.